fired at 50, what nobody tells you about starting over. It felt like my fear of being homeless in my old age was actually coming true. I felt like my whole world had collapsed the moment I got fired, even though I did not even like that job. Today I'm going to share a story with you about getting fired, but really it's not about getting fired. It's about what happens after, what you can do after you get fired, all the possibilities. Let me take you back, because how I came from there to where I am now is important in a way that will give you some ideas about how you can create a life you love. My name is April. Welcome. I had been a mortgage broker for years, but I had taken a year off because I had gotten really sick. But at the end of that year, my savings was completely gone and my employment insurance was about to run out. I needed a job really bad. So I was looking for any job. I wasn't even looking for a mortgage broker job. And then I got offered this incredible offer, it seemed like at the time, from a small mortgage brokerage very close to where I live. It offered a salary, paid benefits, time off, all the things that nobody gets in a commission-only world. I thought at the time I had found a lifeline, and in some aspects I had. What I didn't know was that I was walking into the most toxic work environment I have ever been in. I'm going to be straight up here. I am not the world's best employee. I don't actually like working for people. I prefer to work my own hours and all the things that come with being self-employed. But at the time, I needed to work. So a week into the job, I still wasn't feeling 100%, but I was doing okay at faking it. And the boss comes in and he sits down in my office and he closes the door all serious like, and I was like, whoa, am I getting fired already? And he says, April, Michelle and I, Michelle was his wife, have prayed on it. Prayed on it? Prayed on what? And we've decided to give you the extra $10,000 in annual salary that you initially asked for. You've turned out to be great. We love what you're doing. And we really appreciate that you are who you said you were going to be. And I'm like, fantastic. So this is looking good. A weekend, right? So this was a really small office. It was just him, the receptionist, and his best friend, who was some old guy in his 60s who thought he was pretty cool, but in fact, he was just a racist, sexist, grumpy, weirdo old man. He was just really not nice to be around. As a matter of fact, one day he dialed my office, which was literally down a very short hole. He could have walked. And he phoned me in the office and he says, so when you have a minute, can you paddle your buns down to my office? This is the kind of man we're talking about. And I laugh because I'm like, who says that? At any rate, we argued a lot. The boss didn't like it. He didn't like the tension because this was his best friend. And I actually, in hindsight, think that his best friend probably bankrolled a lot what was in that business. That was just the beginning of this weird, toxic, culty like office environment, because this guy started hiring people from his church, which is fine. I'm all good if people want to hang out with their people. It was just odd. He wasn't hiring for skills. He was hiring because they were connected to him through his church and he thought that they would make great employees. Because of this, all of a sudden, it wasn't just work. It was barbecues and dinner at the boss's house, and we're all going to hang out together and be a happy family. I don't know about you guys, but if I go to an office 8 hours a day and have to deal with people that are perfectly fine people, but just not people I would choose to hang out with, and then you want me to hang out with them in my free time? No, it's not my thing. So that is when the tension started, when I wasn't going to be literally they called it a team player, because I wasn't going to come for Christmas dinner at the boss's house. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not. So the line between work being business and being buddies continued to blur. I knew this office had gone through so many brokers. It had been a revolving door of people that have come and gone out of this guy's business really quickly. And I was trying to figure out why, and I was quickly picking up hints. And the pressure to play along was ridiculous. We were having morning meetings about nothing every single day. It was crazy. So with the lines blurring, of course, my reaction was to back up, and spend less and less time, or as little as time as possible. I had been an independent broker for so long, I felt like I was joining a cult. So time went on. I had the idea, instead of hiring a bunch more brokers, because him and I had already proved that we could push a lot of business through just the two of us, what we needed help with was the admin side. There's a lot of paperwork and collecting paperwork from clients when you're in mortgages. And so I suggested we hire a couple of admin staff instead of more brokers, which we did. I kept pushing through. I was working really hard. I even gave him my credit repair program that I had created years before to help people move their credit to a higher score so they could close on a house. Then he hired someone else to run it. I thought it was weird, but okay, I just let him do it. I also gave him my database of clients, all this clientele that I had built up over the years of being a mortgage broker before I even met him. It's okay. I'm always that person that presents tons of ideas and strategies about how to fix things, do things, that kind of thing. And he was showing up at meetings and presenting my ideas as if they were his. It drove me insane. I really started to feel super resentful. But I kept telling myself, just push through because you need the paycheck. This goes on for a couple of years. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff happened. The details are not important, but I just started getting more and more resentful. I'd walk in the front door, I'd say good morning, I'd go into my office, I would shut the door and literally not talk to anybody all day. I would just do my work. And one morning, he followed me into my office and he sat down across my desk and he closed the door and he goes, "We've prayed on it." Again. Like, I don't know why praying is important to me for this conversation. He says, "I think we're done. I think you need to go." I was actually quite shocked because I was still producing, I was still doing lots of business, but what he had done was effectively replaced me while I was still there, because all those admin staff that I said to bring in as admin, he trained them all to be mortgage brokers and had them go get their licenses so that he could effectively replace me, which, you know, good strategy, except none of them are still with him. I wonder why. But in that moment, I was so angry and humiliated. I basically went out the back door with my stuff in the next 10 minutes. I stormed out, slammed the door, and went home. I was super upset. So here I was at, I think I was 50 or darn near, I might have even been 51. I'm not sure of the actual age, and unemployed again. But I refused to let it sink me, because that day that I thought my world was crumbling changed everything. And as a matter of fact, I ran into that man about a year ago, and I will tell you what I said to him when I saw him in a little bit. So I thought I was sinking. I wasn't. I didn't know it in the moment because of all the emotions that go with getting let go in such a shocking way. But that firing forced me to do the things I had been avoiding doing. I had been dreaming of building online income, and in the preceding year or so, I had been learning a lot of skills, trying to put my ducks in a row. But now I had to do it. So within months, I was freelancing, I was working by myself, I was even full-time online within a month and a half. No boss, no politics, no cult-like atmosphere, just freedom. And the freedom to be the driver of my own bus. Last year, when I ran into him, I could have just kept going. But I looked at him and I said, "Hey, I gotta tell you, you firing me was the best thing that ever happened to me. So I want to thank you, because instead of letting that firing sink me, I used it as a catalyst to build what it was I had been yearning for all this time." If you have ever been fired, had the rug pulled out from underneath you, were freaking out about your financial freedom, know that it's not the end. Because it is absolutely true. Every time one door closes, another door opens. And you could actually be creating your freedom, whether you know it or not. So don't let it sink you. If you have ever been fired, or you're in some sort of position where there's been a catalyst or maybe no catalyst, and you just know that you need to change your life, you are 100% in the right place. Please make sure and subscribe and join our free Patreon group for women who are looking to change things up, because we want to connect with you live in order to support you and your ideas for moving your own life forward.